Welcome to Volume 3 of Dopey, Derbyshire Drivers, including one or two others from around the country. Today we're going to start in Birmingham. This clip takes us to Birmingham, and coming up you'll see an incident at a set of traffic lights which, even 3 years on, still bewilders me a little bit. At these traffic lights you can see that they've turned to red, so myself and the other vehicles in my side of the lane stop. The traffic on the opposite side of the road starts with a green light on their side, and the traffic filtering from the left also moves out because there is a green light filtering them onto the road. So far, so good. No particular incidents. You'll now see traffic starting to move from the right, so clearly the signal on their side permitting them to cross the road has turned to green. At this stage I'm not sure what the signal on the left hand side is, but that is the one to keep an eye out. That van there on the left, that white van, has just pulled up, presumably because the traffic lights on his side of the road are also on red. You'll see in a moment that my lights turn to green as I set off. Watch the van on the left. You can see he starts moving off as I do, ready to ram into my side. And you could just see in the bottom corner of the screen there how close we were to touching. I've muted the audio from the dash cam because I don't want this video to become age restricted, but I can tell you my choice of words were particularly fruity. Let's look at that again. Yep, he's going to move off when we go to green. I can only think he's looking at my signal, not his, because you'll see in a moment that I'm pretty sure the signal facing him was indeed red. In this clip, I want to look at the impact of slow driving. The first car that's just gone past is doing the speed limit because it's 30 miles an hour along this road, but he's going slow enough for the guy in front of me to be right up his backside, giving them no braking space. The car in question turns right, and we are now on a road in South Normanton that will go down a hill shortly. However, the first thing I want to show is this guy's braking as he sees another car coming, and I can tell you that there is sufficient gap between that part of van and the other car for him to have got through without having to brake and to slow down. Example number one of being overcautious. We now come over the hill and you can see there's a cyclist on the road in front of us, so immediately this guy slams the brakes on again. This time you may say okay because there's another car coming, but you can look ahead and see that the cyclist is actually pulling away from the driver and is getting further and further ahead. The guy is only doing 20 miles an hour in a 30 mile an hour speed limit. Brakes go on again, and again the cyclist is very far ahead, and this guy is slowing down, so he's clearly got no intention of trying to overtake the cyclist. At this point I have no clue why he's driving on the brakes. Car comes around the corner, cyclist in front, brakes. You can see now the cyclist has gone onto the footpath. So please tell me why that driver is now pulling out and giving the cyclist on the footpath extra room. There's no accounting for that. There's no reason for it. So in that short clip, you can see someone who is very heavy on the brakes. As soon as he sees a car on the opposite side of the road, he brakes because he doesn't seem to like to have another vehicle coming towards him, and completely misjudges situations like the one with the cyclist, where, as I say, the cyclist was in front, he was going faster, getting further away from him, and then the pièce de résistance is the gap he gave him as the cyclist was actually on the footpath. This clip is slightly different from the others. It's not so much about how people are driving, but just to give you an insight into some of the driving conditions that we get in Derbyshire. And in this particular set of clips, you'll see that the weather is raining and the visibility becomes appallingly bad. If you look at the date on the dashcam footage, you'll see that we're actually in the middle of August, which is meant to be the height of the summer in this country. But instead, these are wintry, monsoon type conditions. You can't tell me that this is unrelated to the changes in our climate over the recent years, because to have conditions like this in the summer is just ridiculous. I know we have idiots in big white buildings in America who think climate change is a hoax, but these sorts of weather conditions might suggest something slightly different. You can see at this point that I can barely see 100 yards in front of me. I can just about make out the red lights of the vehicle in front and the shape of the lorry on the inside lane just ahead of that car, but that's about all I can see. We now appear to be gaining on that nebulous shape of a lorry that I mentioned a few moments ago, because as you can see I'm getting a little bit closer, but you can also see on the left hand side that we're only about 100 metres away from a junction. So I'm not going to even attempt to overtake the lorry at this point, and will give it room to come out in front of me so that it can allow traffic to come on from the junction. But watch what happens once this lorry moves into the outside lane, and watch what happens with his right hand wheels. He starts to chuck up spray that is literally flying onto the other side of the carriageway like a massive great sprinkler system, similar to what we have at the football ground. So he's in the outside lane and he's actually adding to the visibility problems on the other side of the road. Through no fault of his own. It's just that the weather conditions are so bad, there is so much water on the road that his spray is being sent over the equivalent of at least another lane. I mean, it's bad enough on this side. What it was like for the cars on the other side driving into that spray, heaven only knows. In this next video, we see a driver in a car park too impatient to wait and get out into the traffic. You can see at this point that I'm still moving, but the driver in this car decides that doesn't matter, he's going to pull out in front of me. The cheeky sod also waves as if to acknowledge the fact that I'd let him out, but you can clearly see that I was still moving and had therefore given no indication I was letting him pull out. We are so close, you can almost see the whites of the guy's eyes. Impatient, impatient, impatient. One thing that really winds me up on motorways is when I try to leave enough space between me and the vehicle in front to give me a decent braking distance. Some other driver decides that that braking distance is actually their space for them to move over and to fill up. And here is a good example of that on the M1 southbound. You can see the traffic is busy, therefore any sudden braking movement from a vehicle in front could lead to a rear end shunt if you're too close. So I'm trying to give myself enough braking space when all of a sudden this car pulls in front and takes it. Of course, the consequence for that is that I then have to drop further back so that I can re-establish the braking space. and it seems to be that other drivers just don't understand the need for a braking distance on a motorway. For this next clip, I'm going to let it run for a little while so you can actually see that the vehicle involved in this incident is nowhere to be seen immediately prior to the incident. What I'm going to show you is a car that comes screaming up the inside lane on my left and pulls out to overtake a vehicle that I'm overtaking, and then almost immediately a grey vehicle on my right pulls into the third lane and seemingly goes chasing after the white car. My passenger and I were speculating that the grey car was actually a plainclothes police car, but if I rerun the video from quite a way back, you will see that the white car that is the subject of this particular clip is nowhere to be seen in any of the vehicles that I'm passing, which makes me think that that car came screaming onto the motorway from the junction that we had just passed and decided that it was going to go at whatever silly speed he wanted to do and just cut across the lanes of traffic. We never did find out whether that grey car was indeed a police car and had eventually pulled the white one over, but the way in which the grey car responded to the white one would very much suggest it was the case. I hope it was a cop car, and I also hope the person driving that white vehicle has now a few extra points on their licence, because again, it's stupid driving. And now to our final clip of this particular video, and this one is an example of really quite selfish, bizarre, maybe dangerous behaviour. It takes place in South Normanton village in Derbyshire, and as we approach the top of this hill we will come to a road which normally has vehicles parked down one side of it, restricting the amount of space for cars to get through. You will see in this video that as I come around the bend and over the hill, there are cars parked on the left hand side as mentioned, and vehicles already coming through on the other side of the road, and those vehicles of course have right of way because the obstruction is on my side. So once that red car goes past, I move forward, see another vehicle approaching, and I pull in behind the blue one to give the vehicles in on the other side priority access. You will see momentarily that a vehicle stops and signals for me to go through. It is the vehicle I've highlighted, and you can clearly see them flashing to say come through. Watch what happens next. Yes, that's right. This expletive-deleted driver decides they were too impatient to wait behind the stationary vehicle, overtook them and came straight in front of me. Let's see that again. Here they go. The best thing of all is you can actually see the driver who gave way to me holding her hands up in absolute despair at the idiocy and stupidity of the person who overtook her while she was letting me come through. I have no more words to describe the complete lunacy of drivers like this, and on that note I should say thank you again for watching. We will be back in the near future with volume 4 of Dopey Derbyshire Drivers, and I have plenty of footage ready and waiting to go. If you like these videos, please subscribe to the channel, press the like button and hit the bell for notifications of future videos. Thank you very much for watching. Derbyshire Dad signing out. Bye! If you have enjoyed this video and would like to check out some more of my work, please look at my Captain Frandad gaming channel. In particular, the +1 series of videos in which a small one and I talk about how to get started with a wide range of games. Thank you again for watching, and goodbye.